Hi boys and girls, today we are doing day 2 exam review. So if you have your worksheet, take it on out and hopefully you've already worked it out in class and are just checking your answers today. So the first thing we want to do in number 1 is distribute 1/2 to everything in the parentheses. So remember, if you have issues, put these over 1 over 1. Numerator multiplies to numerator, denominator multiplies to denominator. So you would have 4x over 2 minus 6y over 2. And then this is understood to be a -1, so we're going to distribute that -1 to both those terms in the parentheses. And that would be a -8x and a -2y. Now we're going to simplify our fractions. 4x divided by 2 is 2x. 6y divided by 2 is 3y. Minus 8x minus 2y. And lastly, we're going to combine like terms. We're combining, we're not moving things across an equal sign. So don't change the signs. 2x minus 8x is a -6x, and a -3y and a -2y make a -5y. So our answer is -6x minus 5y. Number 2, we're solving for the letter P. You'll notice that they're fractions, and no one likes fractions, so we're going to multiply by the common denominator to get rid of the fractions. So we're going to multiply everything through by 5. So I'm going to rewrite it so you see it. -2 over 5p times 5 over 1 plus 3 times 5 equals 1 over 5p times 5 plus a -17. So remember, everything gets multiplied by 5. So then what happens is in these fractions, the 5 in the denominator will cancel with the 5 in the numerator, both in that and in that term. So then we have -2p times 1, which is -2p. 3 times 5 is 15. Right here we just have 1p. And then -17 times 5. Do it off to the side. 17 times 5 is 35. Carry the 3. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. So 85. Remember, on your exam, you will not have a calculator. You're expected to be able to do this multiplication. And then to solve, you want to bring all your p's to one side and everything that doesn't have a p to the other. So to move the 1p, I'm going to subtract 1p. So I'll have -3p plus 15 equals -85. Next, I'm going to move the 15 over, so I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. I'm running out of room, so I'm going to come over here. So I have -3p equals -85, and a -15 make a -100. And then we're going to divide both sides by -3. And I have p equals a negative divided by a negative is a positive, which is 100 divided by 3. If I could reduce the fraction, I would, but that fraction does not reduce. Number 3, we solved this question yesterday, and solving an absolute value, I gave you the steps to solve it. So if you remember it all, step number 1 was to isolate the absolute value. So let's go ahead and isolate that absolute value. So I need to subtract 10 from both sides. -2, absolute value of 2x minus 4 equals 6. I need to remove the -2, so I'm going to divide both sides by -2. And I have the absolute value of 2x minus 4 equals -3. Now don't be a robot, stop and think. Remember, I told you yesterday in the video what absolute value means. It means the distance that you are from 0. Can a distance be a negative number? The answer is no. When this happens, when the absolute value equals a negative number, your answer is no solution. If you went ahead and solved this out, you would get solutions, but if you checked them, neither one would work. And then lastly on the front page is number 4. Find the equation of the line that passes through these points. The first thing you have to find is your slope. If you recall it all, slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to put underneath x1, y1, x2, y2. So my y2 is -11 minus my y1 is -8 over my x2 is 6 minus my x1 is 4. That's a -11 plus 8 over 2, which is -11 plus 8 is a -3/2. So now I have my slope. You pick one of the points. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to pick the first one. And then I'm going to put it in point slope form, if you remember that at all. We've been talking about that for the last few days. Point slope form is y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. So using that formula in point slope form, hang on, let me move this down. You would have y minus a minus 8 equals, my slope is negative 3/2, x minus 4. I'm just going to clear that up and make that a plus. So y plus 8 equals negative 3/2, x minus 4. It doesn't say how to leave that equation, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it in point slope form. And there you go. Next, if you flip it over, bring it back up. We reviewed this when we did our chapter 4 review. We wanted to graph the lines, so the easiest way to do it is to get it into slope intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to take the 5x minus 3y equals 12, and I'm going to isolate y. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides, and I have minus 3y equals negative 5x plus 12, and then I'm going to divide everything by negative 3, and I have y equals a negative divided by a negative is a positive. Let me slide this over so it's in the screen. So you have 5/3 x, and then a positive divided by a negative is a negative, so minus 4. So our slope is 5/3. Our y-intercept is negative 4. So to graph this, I'm going to start with my y-intercept. So I go to the y-axis, and I go to negative 4. 1, 2, 3. Negative 4 is right there. And then from there, I'm going to count out my slope. So I'm going to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And to the right 3. 1, 2, 3. I can do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. And then if you have a ruler handy dandy, which I do, you just connect the dots and get your line. You can also sometimes find your x and y intercepts. This wouldn't be the greatest example for that because it wouldn't be a problem to find the x-intercept, but it is a problem to find, to find the y-intercept, but to find the x-intercept, you'd have a fraction and that would be difficult. So it's best just to solve for y equals mx plus b. Number 6, solving inequalities. We want to get the b's on the same side, so I'm going to subtract 2b from both sides. B minus 2 is less than or equal to 1. Then I'm going to add 2 to both sides and get b is less than or equal to 3. And then we're supposed to graph it. So we did one of these yesterday, and I told you if it did not have an equal sign, it's an open circle. If it does have an equal sign, which this one does, it's a closed circle. And where are all the numbers less than negative 3? They are on the left of 3. So I'm going to shade it and draw my arrow. Number 7 is the one like I did yesterday. I call this a sandwich. So we want to get m by itself in the middle. So I'm going to subtract 4 here, here, and here. And you would have 4 is less than or equal to m is less than or equal to 9. So what that means on a number line is I have 4 here, 9 here. Both have equal signs, so both would have a closed circle. And it was between them. Remember, this is a conjunction. Another way to do this problem is to separate it into 2 equations, which some of you did when I taught this. Put an and between them. It's a conjunction. And then write your other case over here. Solve both cases. So subtract 4, 4 is less than or equal to m, which you have. M is greater than or equal to 4, and then subtract 4, m is less than or equal to 9, which gives you the same answer. So you can do this either way. This way is just a lot faster. And the last one we have is solving for g. So I'm going to box my g, put a rectangle around it. So that's what I want to isolate. So I want to take everything else to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 5k. I cannot combine 10 and 5k. Those are different terms. So I just write 10 minus 5k. Don't force it. And then I need to move the 4, that's an H, 4H, so I'm going to add 4H. Again, I can't combine it with anything on the right side because they're all different. So I just attach it. So I have 10 minus 5K. I get my letters all mixed up, plus 4H. Now I still have that 3 with the G. It's attached by multiplication. To undo multiplication, we divide. So I'm going to divide every term by 3. So I have G equals 10 over 3 minus 5K over 3 plus 4H over 3, or it could be written as 10 minus 5K. Oops, I'm off to the side. Let me come back. 10 minus 5K plus 4H all over 3. Both of those answers are correct. They mean the same thing. That is it for today, boys and girls. That was fun. Hopefully you got them all right and understand how to do them. Again, if not, please reach out and ask us in class.